What's going on? VitalSyntax here, and the alpha for Crysis 3 recently ended a couple weeks ago, and hopefully some of you guys got to play on that. It was on the PC, and they gave out quite a few keys. I know they were giving out on a bunch of different gaming websites, including the NVIDIA website and Facebook and a couple other places, so hopefully some of you guys got to play it, and if you didn't, don't worry. There will probably be another alpha and a beta coming up pretty soon. I mean, the game is still set to release for February of 2013, so they still have a good 2.5 months to work on the game. And I'm sure there'll be another alpha or beta, hopefully on the consoles as well, in sometime in January or like early February, somewhere in that timeline. So recently, a couple of gaming outlets got to try their hands at the single player of Crysis 3 and wrote a little bit about it. I want to talk about what they were bringing up. So if you remember back with the first Crysis, which I played recently, I didn't play it originally on the when it first came out, but after I got my gaming PC, I ended up picking it up and playing it. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot more of an open world type of area. It's based on this island, and lots more exploration, lots more of exploring and things like that. So it was more open world. And then with the Crysis 2, it was more linear. You're set in more urban areas, and there was kind of one path you had to follow for the single player, and that's something that a lot of people didn't like about Crysis 2, including myself. So with Crysis 3, they're trying to get best of both worlds. So it is still a linear game. There is still kind of one set path that you can go on, but the path is much larger, if that makes sense. So in Crysis 2, they were very narrow. There weren't a lot of routes you could take, and there were kind of preset ways that you're supposed to go about beating that certain level. Where with Crysis 3, they're trying to make it more vertical. They're trying to make it more wider, so there's a lot more different routes that you can take, a lot of different ways that you can approach different situations, and they're also introducing a lot more of stealth mechanics. So you still have the nanosuit with its abilities like armor and stealth and speed, and I'll talk more about how the nanosuit and the energy works, but in this game, there's more emphasis on stealth because now you have this new weapon, which is the bow and arrow, and you can use that bow and arrow while in stealth mode and not break the stealth, invisibility type of cloaking technique. So you can actually stay basically completely invisible and still kill people, whereas in the previous, Crysis 2, every time you shot your gun or did anything while you were cloaked, it would break that cloaking, and you would, become aware, or the enemies would become aware of you. And obviously they're trying to make it so you can approach it in different ways. So you can just go guns blazing with armor and fully automatic weapons, or you can go in with stealth and do assassinations with the cloaking and use this new this new bow and arrow. Now there's a couple different arrow tips that you can use, just like you would expect from any awesome bow and arrow. So you have things like the high explosive bolt that you can use to kill multiple enemies maybe that are hiding behind cover, or blow up explosive barrels and things like that. There's also supposedly an armor-piercing arrow that allow you to do damage to enemies that have higher amounts of armor. And there's also just your standard piercing bolt, which is just all around kind of balanced. All right, so now let's talk about some of the multiplayer components. So the thing that they've changed, at least in the alpha, I don't know if it's going to stay over into the full game, but one of the biggest changes they made is to how the energy works. So in Crysis 2, you had one energy bar, and the energy bar was used by everything. So if you used cloak, it would slowly drain your energy. If you used cloak and you shot while you were in cloak, it would completely deplete your energy. And then if you were using armor, it would slowly deplete your energy. If you got shot while you're using armor, it would deplete faster. And then also if you sprinted or did a high jump, that would use your energy as well. And that was kind of the basis of Crysis 2. There was a lot of different perks that you could use to adjust how the energy was used. Some of it would make it so you could run farther with using less energy, or use armor longer with using less energy, or using cloak longer with less energy. So it's similar to that sense in Crysis 3, but they've changed how the energy works. So now you actually have two energy bars. There's one for cloak and one for armor. So you can actually use your cloaking energy and completely deplete it, and then use armor energy and completely deplete that. And there's two separate energy bars. Now they also work a little bit differently. So stealth is still kind of the same mechanic, where if you're in stealth mode, it uses the energy and it depletes it slowly. If you sprint or jump, and it uses you move around quickly, it uses the stealth energy a little bit more quickly. If you're just standing still, it depletes very slowly. And then with the armor energy, it actually doesn't deplete at all. It just you can basically have armor on forever, but you're much more obvious. You have this like, you know, red glowy look to you. So you're kind of giving your position away to enemies and making you a more obvious target. But you can literally use the armor energy and it doesn't actually deplete while just using it. It only depletes when you get shot with it. And then also the way that they're doing running and high jumping is that doesn't even affect your energy. So essentially you can sprint forever in this game. At least that's how it was in the alpha. Remember, this is based off of that information. It might change with, you know, upcoming beta or when the full game comes out. And you can also do the high jump as many times as you want, and that doesn't use any form of energy. So you're essentially a lot more quick and a lot more deadly because, you know, you have 2 different levels of energy and you can use them both to their full potential. All right, so now another couple things they've changed is they've added power weapons. It's kind of like Halo in the sense that they have these new alien tech weapons, things like rocket launchers, things like these huge plasma cannons that shoot really, really deadly plasma bolts that are this huge orbs of blue light. And there's a couple different ones that were in the alpha, and they're placed different around the map at different locations. It's actually some of the alien weapons, so you'll find like a dead alien, and he'll have a gun next to him, and you can pick it up. And it seems like there's set spawn points around the map, so it's kind of trying to get incorporation of that Halo element of map control and power weapon control that we've seen, you know, in previous Halo games. I mean, Halo's a little bit different now with Halo 4 because those are orbital drops, and you only get them when you at least in some of the game modes. Some of the game modes, it's how it used to be in Halo, where they're just set spawn points. So that's interesting. I don't know if that's something they're going to keep, but it definitely kind of adds a new technique to the game. And those power weapons are actually really useful for the new vehicle that they've added, which is a pinger. So you might remember the pinger from the previous Crysis game. They had it there, but now you can actually control it in multiplayer. So it will spawn in. Keep in mind, in the alpha, there was only one map to play, and played it over and over and over. And the pinger would always spawn in the same spot, kind of in the middle of the map. And whoever grabbed it first, grabbed it first. I don't think it was, you know, spawned in when you got a certain amount of kills, or it spawned in when you did something, or when your team was winning. I think it just spawned in at a random time, and anybody who got to it first got to it. I don't know that that's how they're going to keep it. Maybe they'll make it so it's a kill streak or something like that, instead of just randomly placing it on the map. But it's like this huge mech thing that you can actually walk around. You can shoot huge explosives. You can shoot like a machine gun type of plasma thing. It's pretty cool. So those power weapons are actually kind of, I think, in place to help you take down the pinger. Because it's definitely really powerful. It's kind of limited though, because you obviously can't go in indoor areas, and there's a lot of indoor areas. Also, they've added the single player customization thing to multiplayer, so you can actually pull up your gun and choose what attachments you want, which is pretty cool, instead of having to do it in custom class. But anyway, those are just some new information and old information about Crysis 3 and the Crysis 3 alpha and beta. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to give me a like or a favorite. Remember to subscribe for more Crysis 3, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.